Huyu ni jamaa wangu.
How are you, sir? Welcome. But for the purpose of continuing
Yes, your man.
Lakini sio kitu kile wao kwa maana madaire ilikuwa
So you wait first until the guests are seated, that's when you come in, right? And after alafu ufanye ile kitu ile ungitu ulifanya na njite ijapo
Ngoja. Gini.
Unaweza tolea mtu passport photo size. Wanaitaka uko juu au hapa juu?
Naitaka sahi hapa baadaye. Yasin.
Hakuna kamera. Edi kamera.
Kamera. Mbona umekasirika?
Sijakasirika. Poa sana. Yeah. Which one is possible?
Piga simu sahi. Kwani nipiga simu?
Interview. Sahi. Alafu kuna flash ndio kupatia usiweka. Unaambiwa hivyo. Zinafaa kutumwa.
Sahi.
Hiyo ya flash itaweka baadaye.
Twende hivi.
Yeah.
Brian, please assist me.
Yeah, so I think we start with 2 minutes each one, or 1 minute, what we learned the last 2 days, summary, and for that we'll do the presentation.
Let me start with, yeah. We'll start with you. No worries. Ladies first. We'll start with you. Okay. Explain to us what you learned so far from day one.
From day one up to now.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm happy to see everyone here again, healthy and happy. To begin with, one of the things I learned the very day we met was meeting vibrant youth, pastoral youth, who are all willing to take up sectors that is to address in the capacity to address the pastoralism. Also through their life stories shared by all participants, I learned that there is importance in addressing pastoralism, and that pastoralism is the heart when it comes to addressing climate change. I've also learned that pastoralism faces same challenges, and I learned that in all regions, whether Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, or Ethiopia, policies made by government are not supporting the pastoralist group, and that the pastoralists, the community, need to step forward to address the challenges they are facing. We have, within our group discussions, I've learned that for the globe to achieve the 2030 SDG goals, pastoralism has to be in the discussion. Because I believe that when we address the pastoralism, it is the pastoral community that feeds the world. By either through livestock or agriculture, it is the pastoral community that feeds the world. So, attain goals like food security and many others who need to give attention to the pastoral community and recognize them, recognize the pastoral community in this aspect.
I think it should be 1 minute each one. Just few words.
Okay.
Because
Thank you.
we need to present. Yeah.
Climate change. They are also available. They are there. We have them. It's only the matter of applying for interpretation. But also, the most important thing that mainly relates to that as a scientist is that the pastoral community, they rule all importance of pastoral community in improving relevance. That improving relevance in areas and other areas. We cannot make pastoral communities in these areas or emphasize them to have a zero grading system, why do we also want to give the relevance? If we keep on emphasizing about zero grading system, this relevance will also collapse. They will not survive. So pastoralists, they have a big role in improving the relevance and making use of them. So it's that the way of just assisting how to improve the relevance and how to improve the pastoral communities.
Good morning. In this workshop, I've learned a lot. I see eager and they are a game changer. And I see the bright future in this platform. So I think it's very important to engage youth pastoralists in this platform so they can make changes to the pastoralism. And also, what I can say is it is very important to advise pastoralists to engage in, to do commercial pastoralist way of way, rather than doing nomadic only by depending on, by having the large number of livestock and they are not get profit from them, so from those livestock, so they have to do commercial livestock. So if they do, if they focus on doing it in commercial, they will invest on it. How? By how? They will invest on it maybe by having their size of land, the land to accommodate their livestock, and they will grow that land by doing pasture establishment, having their own source of water to accommodate their animals, say they will get profit from those animals.
Please take just 1 minute, please, just quick.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm also learned a lot about this workshop because of course we have the sustainable pastoralism, because we have discussed many issues, but for myself I see the opportunity in two many issues. One is land. It is important that we emphasize pastoralists to have the security of the land, because if there is no security of the land, that means anytime you can get removed from where you have invested. The pastoralists, the animals and the forages. Also, the second that I have learned is about the breed. For the pastoralists to have that confidence that they are making profit through pastoralism, they should consider the breed. So the breed is very important, because if you have less potential breeds, that means our investments in pastoralism will not give us profit. But if you have a good breed, that's our way to go. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. So in here, I have learned many things. From that, we come from different spaces and different areas, but all of us have same challenges and the same vulnerabilities. So in this house, I learned that how to reduce our vulnerabilities and the poverty we have, and how we can manage through those processes. And the other thing that I learned in here is that we address many things. We consider many opportunities and areas. And from this, we try to have many recommendations so to be used in the future as a policy for the pastoralist people. So as in whole, from that we get connection. We have a connection of many users from different areas, so we can be the greater inputs for our people in the future. So I have learned many things. Thank you so much from all you guys and from the coordinators and everyone.
Good morning everyone. Sorry, I learned a lot from this consultation. Just to start, I could see a young, vibrant pastoralist community that can assist this dryland sector. And again, another thing I could understand is we can sustain our pastoralist community under the changing climate. You see, in our area, we are replacing more in meeting agricultural sector in pastoralist area. But from what I visited yesterday, just we can produce very adaptive and less in meeting agriculture in these dryland areas. I hope we will do that. Thank you.
So I think our friend from Aseret, has an interesting topic on
Good morning. I just want to share with you successful case studies that had been done by a young pastoralist guy from Kajiado County, and it had become one way of solving pastoralism challenges. It's from Maasai communities. They live in between the corridor of Nairobi National Park, between Kitengela. They had so many kettles. And this young man is called Richard Turere. They had so many herds of kettles. And each and every night, lions came to their kettle pen and take some of the animals. And the way he presented, he said, we lost roughly around 9 kettles per week, 9 kettles. Each and every night, lions came and attacked their livestock, and they lose 9 kettles per week. Then this young man, he tried to think of how he can come up with an innovation in solving that particular challenge. So at first day, he surrounded the kettle pen with fire. And then the lion stay away for some number of days. And then after some days, they pass near to the fire, come and attack the livestock. And this young man, he now think of another way. He come up with scarecrow. He made the scarecrow. The lion stay away for 2 days. They have found that this scarecrow is not a human being. They pass near the scarecrow, come and attack the lion. He now think to another things of creating darkness along the calf pen. The lion stay for some number of days and come back. And this young man now, we try to think of how he can improvise and improve on his scarecrow. He took the torch, attached on the hand of the scarecrow, so the lion stay away for 1 week. So now, after 1 week, the lion also came back. And they found that this one is a scarecrow, the torch is moving, yeah, this one is a scarecrow, they come. Then this young man now will think of a long-term solution now. He brought his mother's radio, take the motor, and connect it with this bulb. And he put along the kettle pens. This one, at this particular moment, the lion stay away from the kettle pen. Lastly, he went ahead and moved the solar, the battery, and the inverter. And he surrounded the kettle pen with now 16 bulbs connected to the battery. Battery charged by the solar. And he connected in a way that they produce light simultaneously. So that one light will be flash from this corner, another one is flash from the other corner, another one is flash from the other corner. The lion, they ran away and they never turned back. So that young man, he got a lot of prestigious award, and he got an opportunity to visit different parts of the world, including he met Jack Ma, the founder of the Alibaba Foundation, and his technology are found to have worked and helped the communities in deterring away the lions. In his innovation, he had been able to achieve 2 things: protected his kettles, and he also protected the lions from killing. Thank you so much.
I think he has already taken the 3 minutes, so thank you. What I have learned is that as pastoralist youth, we not only need to be participants of things that are of importance to us, such as climate change, but also as a stakeholder and change maker in such discussions. The other thing is we need to use innovative and management. We need to use good livestock and sustainable keeping practices for us to attain the sustainable development goals. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Lukenya University student pursuing diploma in general agriculture. The main thing I learned from this session or the workshop is that as far as I'm an agriculture student, our people cannot survive without food and without animals. What is my responsibility? What are our responsibility in the society is what I give. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Josephat Masanja from Tanzania. So the thing that I learned from this consultation event is we needed to delist the livestock sector so that to allow the inclusivity of all groups in this sector, including the marginalized or the vulnerable one. especially youth. We see youth, they fail to participate full in the livestock sector because of risk, which is associated by climate change and all this. So we need to de-risk the livestock sector by introducing insurance and having all those means of sustainable achievement in the livestock sector. Thank you.
From the 2 days we've been here, what I've learned is how important it is to diversify our livelihoods. Also, I've seen the commitment and readiness of us as pastoralist youths to commit to the goal of achieving a sustainable pastoralist community.
Good morning. From the side, what I've found is that there's the prevailing challenge that we are seeing. There's a need to improve some part of rangeland so that we can be able to tackle and counter climate change. For example, we need to increase, to reduce degraded areas by increasing grass coverage within our rangeland so that our livestock can have enough sufficient forage for the year and reduce the death of livestock. Thank you.
Our friend here from Ethiopia is a pastoralist, but also a poet, so he has a poem for us, so 2 minutes.
Thank you. According to my poem, we learn a lot from this. Who are the pastoralists? And we are the pastoralists. Today, where is our livestock? So, in order to conclude this, I write one poem that titled Ownerless. Livestock without keepers, the wealth without company, the school without teacher, the teacher without student, the children without guardians, the home without guards, the country without soldiers, the soldier without commitment, ownerless, the wife without husband, the citizen without leader, the truth without justice, the freedom without sacrifice, ownerless, the ocean without users. No one care home as they look after calm. Home guards far away to find others. Keepers run away to find them all. Thieves come out of the all. To care for home, they robbing all property as they guard less. No one defender because of ownerless. But today, maybe the miracle here, the true sons of son and the daughter of the livestock owners, start to build the force of owner. The pastoralist build the network, the bridge of togetherness. Can I name those who made the ownerless story? Active people of the morning, flourishing of the nature of creation, rendering of the human civilization, immense of the tolerance calm, young and energetic teenager, ongoing tomorrow hope trade, ultimate resource collective state, trainers of harmony and solution, hall of love and unity, the African Pastoral Student Network. Thank you.
Thank you, all of you. I'm so happy, I'm so glad to meet and experience and knowledge into the participant of this consultation. Things I learned in this consultation is we discussed about the challenges that face the pastoralists and how we can overcome. We also discussed about how pastoralists can achieve the sustainable development goals. We also discussed about what is the role of technology and digital innovations on farming and livestock. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Hassan Abdi. I'm a moderator. I'm also a student here. I think the main theme is all about agriculture, sustainability, climate change. But then we should ask ourselves, where did the rain start beating us? That's the main question. And then next is, how are we going to mitigate? Now, if we have proper mitigation policy together with that can counterpart with the SDG, the Sustainable Development Goal, I think we can conquer all this. And everybody can have a good nice day. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Abdurrahman Amus from east part of Ethiopia, Until now, I learned until yesterday and observed I learned and observed a different lands here around in Lukenya University, and also some parts of farmers, and also I learned some of the varieties that need to be disseminated when I come back to my homeland, so as to be, so as our vulnerable communities of pastoralists to overcome the negative impact of climate change. And I hope that we'll be part of the efforts that we are at this consultation going to just mitigate and that come up with a kind of adaptive strategies so as to survive our future pastoralists. Thank you very much.
Good morning to everyone. My name is Ian Bashir from Ethiopia. I've learned a lot from this workshop, especially introduction of zero grazing in our home area. We simply free the cattle and they come back themselves. Now I will try to introduce it to our people to practice zero grazing, because in the near future we may not have free grazing. And the another thing that I've done is water harvesting. Those who have been county, they are harvesting every drop of rain and they store it in the borehole. In our area, we do have a river. Most of the pastoralists, they leave their dry land and move to the bank of the river. And it could be good for us to harvest whatever the drop of rain in the dry area and store it in the borehole instead of moving there and heat. That would be good. This is what I've learned, and then I will try to teach the pastoral youth there, and then share the knowledge that I got here, and then to them. Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Happiness Nundileja from Tanzania. From challenges that every country experiences, based on climatic change, is drought. That leads to death of animals. What I learned is to adapt our environment according to this change of climate. Basically, is mindset transformation. When we will transform our mind for what we are thinking, it will be easier to adapting new technology, like we saw harvesting of rainfall and the use of ICT. Also, to educate our pastoralists on reducing number of animals, which leads to control overgrazing and soil erosion, pests, production and scaling of hay for drought season, and the use of hybrids according to certain environments. Thank you.
What I learned is that as the three countries, we have the resources, but our problem and our main challenge is the utilization. And since we begin the training, I learned that we need to maximize the space that we have. If it is the land or the water that we have, we need to maximize that water. And we need to also develop strategies on how to utilize the available resources. Also, what I learned that we have a task as pastoralist youth to develop a framework of climate change actions and mainstream it to our communities and our departments and our countries. So, also the diversification part. I learned that we need to diversify our agriculture so that we can, instead, when one fails, we have another one to look upon. Thank you.
Good morning. Looking at the contribution and experience shared by the participants in this workshop, two things are clear. One, adoption of climate smart technologies is inevitable, as this is going to increase efficiency in resource use in the rangelands, and therefore ensure sustainability and proper management. Then number two, in order for us to increase the investment levels in the pastoral communities, we need to economically empower the communities by enhancing financial linkages so that we can increase the capital base for them to be able to invest in the correct technologies to change livelihoods. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is... Well, in order for me to determine what I have learned and what I have noticed in this, first, we should ask ourselves if we understand the issue, the concept of rangelands. Of livestock keeping, as such as zero grazing. We should be able to understand the current system of pastoralism in our respective countries. That does it reflect the pastoralism itself? But also we should ask ourselves the challenges that are found or are faced by the rangeland and pastoralism in all the countries. But also, that these challenges apply to all the rangelands? Did we propose the solution to address these challenges? But also, we should ask ourselves if the solution proposed are proper and applicable to each respective rangeland and pastoralism system in our countries. But lastly, last but not least, as youth, what can we do? What can we propose? What is our call toward addressing these challenges that are faced by pastoralism, pastoralists, and rangelands in our area? Things I have noticed so far, it is true that climate change has affected our rangelands. It has affected the way we do pastoralism. It has affected the resource we need as pastoralists. But also, I have also noted that management of pastoralism in rangeland is for sustainable pastoralism is inevitable. We must embed our indigenous knowledge with technology and innovations, trying to address these challenges. But also I have noted that land tenure and land use is not is not similar in our area. If we go, for instance, in Kenya, if we come in Kenya, most places are already privately owned. You people have opted to, in most areas, people own a piece of land. Unlike in Tanzania, where we have the common ownership in most of the rangelands. But also, I have noted personally that policymakers have been using the so-called rangeland degradation to intimidate and try to push down pastoralism. I know there are experts on this, you forgive me, but for so long, they have been using the issue of free movement, the mobility to the so-called national economy without considering and comparing the cost benefit of the alternative activity that has been planned on those ranges. According to the study that was done by according to FAO, if you look, they have reported that a square kilometer of the rangeland is much more productive than if it was for mineral cultivation or for other activities such as maybe agriculture. But also, Fiona Flinton from ILRI have noted this. It is good because they are part of the people who facilitated this. And I do concur with her. We have been speaking of the problem that our rangeland is faced. That it is true that there are bare grounds in our rangelands. It is true that climate change have become the problem. But there are one issue that we are forgetting. The tenure system in the land use plan, which should be one of the core issues to be addressed. If we want to secure and make pastoralism to be active, to be sustainable, we must, as experts, try to advocate for the proper land use, which will allow pastoralists to properly use their land, which will allow them also, in other parts, as we see in Tanzania, having the so-called customary land of occupancy certificate, to allow them to decide for themselves. But the problem is, which is we do agree, that there is a conflict of interest. We are giving birth every day. The population is increasing. The farmers are increasing. They need land for cultivation. The wildlife also are increasing in number. But the problem for most of the areas, for instance, in my country, I can take for example, we see wildlife as much more benefiting than the livestock. So it is better to take the land for the livestock keepers, for the pastoralists, for such other activities, which is something that needs to be addressed, the land tenure, the system, and the security of the pastoralist land. So I do believe that in our declaration, I wonder if we focus much on having now to address the issue that the modern agriculture like zero grazing whatsoever, that should be our main target. We should focus our declaration and our comments toward the way we can secure the land for pastoralists, toward the way we can improve the productive rangelands, but also toward how can we use our indigenous knowledge to incorporate with the technology in solving this problem. I hope we will come to that. And so far I have to applaud everyone. We have been very active. We have been presenting what we know from our areas. And I do believe our collective comments on this will be very productive. And I want to applaud Mr. Divine and the team for seeing this as a very viable issue to include youth, because we are the today's generation tomorrow. And we are the one who knows, as a person who knows what we are faced down on the grassroots. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jacob from Laikipia. Thank you very much, my fellow participants. I think we share one thing in common, that is pastoralism and climate change. And I think, as we all know, and my own perspective, I know that solutions are always there for any problem. This is a setting where, if I can share a case study of where my friend, my brother, Bengalo was using, about Richard Turere. That is one person, what he was saying about 1 month's initiative, 1 month's effort. He just started because he saw a problem. And through that problem, he never knew about the many recognitions, the many awards, but he saw solving a problem for his own self. Now we can put ourselves in that bracket, solving a problem in our community, solving a problem in being a pastoralist community. And I took a very good home takeaway points, so much from, especially from the farm and the interaction between us. And I think another thing is engaging county government of Laikipia. in involving the youth in decision making, involving the youth in formulation of policies, such that in that area, I may not be there, but one youth may be inspired to be there in the decision making. And through that, we eradicate what we call underrepresentation, which brings marginalization. And when you are underrepresented, then fortunately, you lack a platform to share your ideas. You lack a platform to share your problems. And through that, I can say livestock, improving livestock production is a major thing. Because we've seen this environment, the way it is, and we've seen Ms. Mule's farm, the way it is. It's a challenge for all of us, and everybody wants to reach that point. And I'm very much persuaded in my own spirit that when I go to Laikipia, something like that will be an implementation of this consultation. And I'm trying so much, and I'm praying that one thing like that will be implemented in my home county. Another thing is, in this consultation, we are designing a holistic solution to rangeland, to managing pastoralists, to the emanating problems in Africa. And I see ourselves, the way we are, very dynamic, very educated, very knowledgeable, with our professors here. I think we ourselves, the way we are, we've been told by Mr. Divine that we were 600, and he said we're going to be accommodated. Also them, because they have not been given that platform to sit here, I know they have something for their own, and that's why they took that initiative to apply. They have that something that they can say they wanted to change their community. Another thing is, I embrace so much is the networking capacity. And that's from Ethiopia. And I came to realize that those in Ethiopia, those in Tanzania, those in Kenya, we always share a platform, one thing in common. That I can say, when we combine our efforts, that problem, that challenge has been solved. Yeah, so I think that is basically among the natural things. I can go on, but those are things that I can say I can take home and say I'm going to implement in my country. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Gochola Sara from Ethiopia, and I've also had a very good experience so far. I've learned a lot of things. We've come together, we've shared experiences, and we talked about all the challenges we faced, and we've tried to come up with sustainable solutions and recommendations to address the climate change issue and the problems pastoralists are facing. In addition to that, from the visit yesterday at the farm, I've learned that there are many ways to solve problems, like technological ways using reusable energy, vertical farming, and drip irrigation to address the challenges that we are facing. And in addition to that, I've also learned that we have all the resources, all the indigenous knowledge that we have. We just have to focus on the efficient use of those and try to apply it in a sustainable way. So yeah, that's what I'm learning so far.
Thank you. Good morning. What you learned or what I've learned. One, before venturing in this body, we need to understand the challenges that comes along the challenge. What is the agenda? Once you understand the challenge, even from your community, where you come from, then you analyze on the resources that you need for you to be able to run with the value chain. This will enable you to understand the number of animals to keep, the number of, the much you need for you to keep the animals to a period that you can start making profit out of what you're doing. This will help you to manage the shocks which comes in times of disasters. The other thing is about understanding the other stakeholders who are in the value chain. Get to know the challenges maybe that you've faced, and this will help you now to manage all the situation in terms of if it's about water, if it's about feed, to help you not to know how much you need for your animals. Then also it is also good to work with other agencies that support the value chain. In case of the subsidies, in case of how the agency, if it's government, you be able to get information on maybe the preparedness or the other plans by either the government or other private organizations that have interest in the value chain. Then partnership. It's also good not to work alone. Understand who else is in the value chain. This will help you to, in case of resources like growth, will help you raise resources to be able to make an informed decision on what action to take. In case of a drought, maybe to see where you can take your animals, maybe to for value addition and such, to help you not to make losses. Then to make an increased productivity and profitability. You need to understand that there are other products that comes along with the value chain. Maximize on all other products. If it's about animal keeping, you get to know that there is things like manure that you can sell, get money, which can help you now continue keeping your animals. Yeah, I think that's all.
Pastoralist youth, and also I have learned many from the field visit and as well as Chile presentation. From the field visit, I learned from Ms. Mule. She make income generation for her service and also for the community living around her area, and also she empowering many women who have not worked. She employed many women who have no work, and that's what I learned from her. The other thing is we decreased our livestock numbers. The breeder of gathering is also decreased because in our area now, one household have more than 300 cattle. When the drought or climate happen, one at a time he lost all his cattle. This is the problem. When we make a mindset or awareness creation about the use of that cattle, we can change our community. The other thing is transforming indigenous knowledge by supporting technology and innovation. We can improve the life of our community. We have resources, but we don't know how to use that resources. This is the problem. The other thing is, we manage natural resources. We have many natural resources like ponds, and also gathering lands. When we use this all, we can change our community. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks. We can now call on the very strong fellow of the Governing Council and an area scholar and Mr. Sami Mubena. So he was the last address for the
me tell you, this would be like 3 or 4 years of research work. Yeah, because I mean, I've done research, so I know how much you have to travel. I've just had somebody, I think someone who's from Gambela. He's a gentleman from Gambela. Yes, I was there some time back, so it's very true. First, let me comment, the Ethiopian population does not do itself justice in telling us how they have transformed Ethiopia in the last 15 years in terms of pastoralism. There has been significant work in Ethiopia that has led not only to the largest population of animals, there are more livestock than anybody in the region. I think there are more cows than human beings. Is that correct? Isn't it? And you have to remember Ethiopia has I think you have 100 million people right now.
More than 100K.
Yeah, 110 million.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. So I think when I listen to everybody, there are certain things like the gentleman from Andrew from Laikipia has said, and everyone has said, we share the same problems, and that is true. Pastoralists share the same problem. The solutions or the mitigations are common. What is lacking seems to be the transformation of that knowledge to solve or identify the mitigation measures. Is that correct? That seems to be what I've been saying. Now, I would summarize what I've had in about 5 areas. Just what I've had, just listening to all of you. I would summarize as the need to increase production through the selection of the right breeds. That's what I generally had, that they need to be very sensitive about breeds. Number 2, this is based on what I've had. They need to understand the value chain of pastoralism economies. And they need to understand what is rangeland pastoralism. And I want to thank the gentleman from, that's Joshua from Rodiono in Arusha, for pointing out that we have to define our concept properly. It is rangeland pastoralism in the arid and semi-arid regions. Rangeland pastoralism in the arid and semi-arid regions. What does it mean when you have community land, and how do you manage it? And in the face of climate change, so you almost need smart climate smart agriculture, climate smart pastoralism in the, let me just say, climate smart pastoralism in the rangelands of the arid and semi-arid regions. So that's what I think about it. Climate smart pastoralism in the rangelands of the arid and semi-arid regions. That's what I've had. We really need to have a model. We need to have a production model for that territory. Because it's right, the scholars you quoted, I think the scholars, the report by FAO and the report by the lady at ILRI on the opportunity cost of transforming rangelands into other forms of production is actually been found to be uneconomical. Rangelands are not suited for crop growing. That has been determined, it's scientific work. We don't have to reinvent that. But since most of us don't talk about it, it is true. Certain groups of people have then used the opportunity to describe degradation of soils as a method of condemning pastoralism. It is not necessarily true. You can coexist pastoralism with improving land systems. And I think the lady from Tanzania, I've forgotten this one, Amina and the neighbor there, have been talking about, and we spoke about it yesterday, we spoke about it today, the idea of managing pasture lands to increase productivity. And in particular, I think the biggest mitigation measure that I've seen in literature on pasture land management is fodder trees. fodder trees increase the land capacity of rangelands. That's scientific. There are studies in Zambia, Zimbabwe, even in Tanzania, from one of the institutes in Tanzania, when they studied the Tutsi cow and something like that, and the Boran cow in comparison, they identified that pasture land can be improved by very much for emphasizing that. Then there is a gentleman who said that I think we have to give him credit. There is management systems, and I like the poet, because the poet is saying who is the owner, who is the owner. The question is, what is the management system for pastoralism in the rangelands? What is the management system? What is the management framework? So that we stop saying there's no owner, please. Because if there's a manager, we can assume the manager is the owner, isn't it? Because he's responsible for it. I think that question would be great to answer. What's the management framework for climate smart pastoralism in the rangelands of the arid and semi-arid regions? What's the management framework? The answer is not zero grazing, because that's not a management framework, that's a production framework, isn't it? The holistic statement made by someone. That's just, and we must accept to be challenged, to be told that we have to read harder to find the answer. So, thank you very much for that. I think I want to close by saying that someone said that we need to be stakeholders in research, in pastoral, in the rangelands. We need to be stakeholders in the research work of pastoralism in the arid and semi-arid rangelands. We need to be stakeholders because research, the scientific method, is without a doubt the best way to transform indigenous knowledge, to adapt gathering of all knowledge, studying it under the principles of science, methodology, so that we can identify how to transform that indigenous knowledge and parts of the US. The olive tree is a near desert plant. The olive tree is a near desert plant. It is actually less attractive compared to the acacia, because it has no shade. You don't get shade in an olive tree, okay? Underneath the olive tree, nothing grows. But Europe and America of olive fruit, and they, you know how they harvest it? They have this tractor that comes to the tree and bangs the tree, and the olive fruit falls down. You don't climb the olive tree to harvest. They actually take a tractor like this and you bang them. But in the past they had a long stick and you, with a hook, and you shake, and the olive trees see fruit fall on the ground. So what did they do? They have these carpets they put under the tree when they harvest, literally, the students. And they shake the tree, and they fall on this sack. And then they gather it and put them in the back of a tractor. So we need to ask ourselves, why is it that the science on acacia propagation is not that advanced? Because the acacia is the best fodder tree for the tropics so far. That's what's available. Why is it not advanced? So I think, going back to the point, we need to be stakeholders in pastoralism, on research in pastoralism. And in this side, I would like to request, perhaps ILRI and its partners can support advanced studies in research outside the breeds now to pasture trees, fodder trees, so that fodder trees can become mainstream into agroforestry, so that the pastoralists are not identified as agents of land degradation. They need to be seen as champions of land transformation through appropriate fodder trees. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I
I think in our language, when something has been said very clearly, and you want to speak after that, you say the words are not only to my mouth, they have been already passed. And yesterday when we were in the farm, in the governor's farm, I said Kenyans and Tanzanians, please go under the armpit of the Ethiopians so that you learn what they are doing so that you can have pastoral restoration. I wonder how many people have done it. But I want to tell you, here from what he has told us, Ethiopia has the highest livestock population in Africa. True or false? True. Ethiopia has currently the most established communal grazing system in Africa. Is it true? True. Because the owners of the community is led by Lagambare, the chief. Say it very loudly for me. Lukenya. Lukenya is in charge of the grazing zone. If the university is now a grazing area, then even pastoralists who come from, like me, because mine is not controlled as people are. When I go there like a visitor, my animals are treated just like his, but I pay some grazing fees to maintain the restoration. So these are the things that I wanted to tell you, that you go under their armpit. Then, as part of my postdoc, I did it in the International Livestock Research Center in Addis Ababa. What is there is every species of livestock have their own research stations. If you go to the south, Awasa University has got the breeds of cattle. If it is to the side of the south, the north, for crop, Horera research station is for plant crops, especially coffee. So I must agree, although I'm a Kenyan, I must agree they are organized. That is why they have more livestock. I must agree that's why they have gone now into a period of compartmentalization. Any donor or investor who comes has conditions. Like there are some dairy farms which are not yet far from the central. The person who comes and invests is on a contract. He builds schools, he builds roads, he also carries out his daily processing. That is corporate social responsibilities of the pastoralists. This is why I was telling you we should go under their armpits and learn from them what they have done. That excludes the dearth of literature, which is a record. So I want to say I have also learned very much, and I have shared with you. That is the addition to what experiences. I don't want to go back to what we have told you in the field and what we have spoken here, day 1 and day 2. And that is a lesson that you need to go home from each other. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Grant. Okay, you have something to say.
I would like to add some challenges we are facing as a pastoralist community in Ethiopia. Just to add on what Dr. Deb said, we have many challenges in rangelands in Ethiopia, particularly our government doing already encourage the settling, and some parts of rangeland which known with it is productive is already transformed into cropland. And nowadays what they have been doing is people are plowing here and there, and then the government bring the inorganic fertilizer for you where the crop is not growing. He's selling the inorganic fertilizer. You see, we are changing our rangeland into cropland, where it is not sustaining. Again, an additional cost, they sell their livestock and buy the inorganic fertilizer where no crops growing. So this is the main challenge. And when we bring it to the climate smart agriculture, just we are costing a lot, we are not getting crop production. And again, we are emitting to the, our atmosphere because we are tilling the rangeland, which we cause to carbon emission. And again, we are adding the inorganic fertilizer, which is not, the plant is not going to take from the soil, and it will be emitted back to the. See, this is the main challenge in our rangeland, particularly in Ethiopia. You see, we are doing unsustainable activities in the rangeland. So, in such case, really pastoralists can sustain in this arid and semi-arid environment. So we need some intervention. So that's what I would like to add on what Dr. said. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ibrahim and Mr. Sam. Thank you. You can go for tea.
So to the difference we have in Croatia, present some videos, and then we'll be having the declaration.
Hi, I'm Madison. Nice to meet you. Yes, I am.
Sio nafahamu ile dawa inatibu gonorea, tunaifahamu sisi wa Masai.
Hiyo maji ya Ibrahimu ilikuwa inachaguliwa hapo kwani?
Wale aliko mbali na mimi kama almost 50 kilometers. Mimi niko pale uliondo hapo mjini wakati mnafika. Wewe unaona
Hapa hivi.
Who have put the Maasai songs? They want us to dance. Mwalimu. The problem is that if, for example, I will destroy the
start to get and now before. Even, but now oh, 5. I'm doing the range of level. So you have 5, 10.
Okay, you're welcome back. We have a young man from Kenya. You know, that's why they say necessity is the mother of invention. He has come up with a transportation system he invented. His name is Mr. Bernard Kimani. You can come and tell us what you want.
Good afternoon. My name is Bernard Kimani from Kenya, Trans-Nzoia County. This is my innovation. It has come to my mind for several times. I tried to make it practically. I tried for the first time, it didn't work. For the second time, it came about, let's say, 70%. But for the third time, it came up to that point. And this innovation, it was to improve agriculture, to prevent some losses that occurs in farms. And as you can see, I named it a post-harvest loss reducing machine. It can help you to reduce some losses in agriculture. It can help us to transport our farm products from farm to market in time and that farm product without being harmed or being dirtified. This this innovation, it can help you who can afford tractors and pickups. Now, a youth who can't afford that tractor or pickup can afford this one, and then I'm trying to improve it by removing that machine which it produces carbon dioxide, which it is not good to the environment. Now we are going. My thought is that I want to make it to be a good one by using solar panels to be driven by a motor to reduce that carbon dioxide that it produces, and it can help so many youth, and it can improve our agriculture, and that is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernard, for that innovation. Maybe if you have any thoughts about it, maybe even how we can improve it better, you can also give your thoughts on it. Because he's thinking about having it to be solar driven, so that it can reduce carbon emission. So, any thoughts on it that you might want to give to him to improve on it would be helpful to him. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, all the comments you have. So let's appreciate him for the innovation that he has. That's wonderful, being a youth as you are. It's a good start, meaning that there is a lot that you can be able to do to influence the world. So thank you very much for that. So I open up for any comments that you have concerning this innovation. Yes.
I think I'll be more difficult to say I'm quite eager, I'm quite envious of the money's innovation. I think it's quite awesome, and literally one of the best actually mindset we have here in the university. I think with much appreciation, with much mindset, with much help and consideration given to my brother Kimani, I think we can reach much better places. So Kimani.
Thank you very much. Yes.
I think they have done a good job by just innovating that technology. But we can just improve by making it like the way it is, in only clearly simple products. I think we have to just improve for it to become even the huge agricultural products, right? Like you can have sacks maybe of rice or tins of milk. So you have to you can think of using the bigger trends, right? And not the bicycles. At least improve it to make it more stronger than it is.
Thank you. Thank you for that comment. Any other? Yeah.
So, Kimani, nice job. I'm just wondering, what material have you used? Is it wood? Okay. If it is wood, I'm thinking about where I come from. There are a lot of termites. So you would also need to consider that. Think about how to treat that wood before you actually put your weather together. Because what will happen is that when the farmer is not using that vehicle, it keeps it in his store. Then the following season, you'll just find pieces and bits of that timber on the floor of your store. So consider termites, and they are quite destructive from where it comes.
Yeah, so maybe treated timber or other materials that can be used in place of timber, so we can still think around that line. Any other comments? Yes, there's a comment on the back.
Okay, first of all, I would like to congratulate Kimani. It's a good trial. time second if I did, but finally was able to fly. What just I want to add is that it's intended to use solar. And I feel like during the rainy season time, this solar may fail and not be able to move so far. I could advise him to install maybe solar and then a diesel engine to economy, because petroleum is more expensive currently in Kenya than diesel, so that during the rain season you can use diesel engine. And then on hot sun days you can use his solar to reduce the cost. So that's it.
Thank you for that comment. Yes?
Thank you. Congratulations to our friend here, and I think that is the way to go.
The technologies that we have been talking about. How can youth actually make agriculture not to be seen as something of a burden, and make also agriculture to look easier, more easier, trying to give an innovative solution that make agriculture to be so easier to the farmers, and also reducing the post-harvest loss that we have seen actually. Yesterday, Ms. Muley was saying she lost like 600 tons or 1,000 tons of the post-harvest loss, and those are the things that actually our farmers are undergoing. And that is the way, for me, that is the way to go. As a youth, we need to find a solution to this, a technology, so that we can move forward. And the other thing is about, we can have a solar and then a battery that can be charged, if that can work, instead of using now the diesel and the petrol. You can have a solar and then as a battery that can be charged, and then it can be used during the dry season also. Thank you so much.
What most of us are failing to do, which is have the courage to try our ideas. You have moved more steps than most of us, and I think you enable those of us who are shy to fail, to realize that it is that courage that you have that allows you to progress. So you are helping mankind actually. What I think is phenomenal, and many people don't realize this, is that three-legged and four-legged vehicles are the future for our rural societies. The reason is this: the motorcycle is a complicated device for most of our rural women. It has very high risks. When you're in the rural areas, you cannot carry your child and ride a motorcycle. Yet women have to carry their children. So what you've done is move in the right direction to enable and empower. How formative it is, you still have done.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any other comment on the same? No? not women coming out. Okay, thank you for the comments given. Kimani, so you get the comments, so you can be able to improve on it. I think that's very important. Thank you for that. And you get a comment so you can be able to improve on it. I believe that it's going to be very helpful to many farmers, and we really appreciate your work. Thank you. Let's appreciate him once more. Okay, now we're going to have one of our consultants, Madam Anne Lamito, just to give us her remarks and maybe what she has learned through this work.
Thank you so much. Like I mentioned yesterday, I'm a consultant on administrative matters. So when I am here as a layman. And first thing, I am just so impressed that you have come for this conference, you answered the call, and you came in, and the ideas that are collectively held in this room are so many, and they are so good. So the next step will be to implement that. Of course, conferences are held, and things are said, and books are published, and papers, and so on and so forth, but now we need to get on the ground and actually disseminate this to the farmers. So, three things that I picked since I joined you. So, there's a lady who talked about, somebody talked about reducing the number of animals in the farm. So, there's a lady who said that she will go and implement that back home. And these are just questions I was asking myself as a layman. So I was thinking, from the communities where we come from, would I be able to drive this? Would I be able to tell my parents who have for centuries believed that the more animals I have, the richer I am, and maybe those are the animals that they use to trade and to exchange goods. So maybe that is a question that we need to ask ourselves as Africans. Will we, as young people, will we be able to convince our parents to make that change? Then, the other pertinent question that I left this room with yesterday, and I'm yet to get an answer. Somebody talked about dog urine. I think we were discussing how to protect the crops from elephants. Somebody said that if the dog urine is scattered around that property, then the elephant will. So I was left wondering, and I'm sure you wondered as well, how do you harvest the dog urine? So maybe somebody has an answer to that. We can probably implement that. It's very interesting, and I was thinking about the Kenyeji dogs that we have, the local dogs, and I believe these dogs are there in every village, and you see them going from one tree to another to another. Maybe we should encourage that. So how do we encourage that? Because when they are marking their territory, it means they are also protecting us. They are also protecting us as they protect themselves and their territory. Then the third thing is about rain and water. So somebody talked about what we need is water, not rain. And Dr. Ibrahim stepped in and corrected and said that no, what we need is rain, not the other way around. So, Dr. Ibrahim, I believe that needs to be expanded a bit more. I'm talking now from layman's point of view. That needs to be expanded so that we can actually understand it wholly. And the logic that I drew from it, so that if we need rain, if we need more rain so that we can get more water, so what do we need to do so that we can get that rain? Of course, from my geography lessons, I know that for us to get more rain, then we need to plant more trees, which I believe is part of the conversation that's going on here. So what do we need to plant those more trees? Then we need the seedlings. So what I'm taking away from this conference is that one-man effort. What am I doing? And when I go back home, I'll get the little papers and put soil in them. I will get the seeds, and I'll start my own little seedling project, and because I have water, then I have a bit of soil in my compound, so I'll create a small nursery of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 trees, and then from there, I will give them out to those who have land. And like I told you, where I come from, there are more buildings than people, so if I can influence my neighbors, whether it's on the balcony or on the rooftop, for those who have the flat roofs, if we can all come up with those small nurseries, I believe we are going to change the climatic conditions that we have put ourselves into, one tree at a time. So thank you once more, Dr. Kamau. Thank you so much for organizing this, and we believe great things are coming from this young people here. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And members, now, the floor is open. If you have any additional comments you want to put across, the floor is open as we wait for the declaration that is being drafted. So the floor is open for sharing what you may have. Maybe that came up after you had shared the previous one. The floor is open. Just put up your hand and give it an opportunity. So, okay, Ibrahim?
Now, I think since most of the sessions have been brainstormed, they have been presented, and they have been seen. Now, what I wanted just to share is a general overview or a kind of background. Just to answer for Hawkins, what she wanted to expand. Rainfall, the hydrological cycle, there's no new water. It's just the water from the sky that is going around. It goes to our rivers, goes to our oceans, it makes our trees grow, it goes to our dams, and then it evaporates and goes up. So the starting point is the rain. So the hydrological cycle starts with the rain. That's the clouds and formation, and that's what's so that's why I say we don't need water, we need the rain. Okay? Now, ladies and gentlemen from our various countries, one issue on the first day of our presentation with Dr. Kamau on behalf of Lukenya University, there are two issues. One Dr. Kamau is going to talk about, and the other one I'll be talking about is how we have planned for this workshop. If we are going to the farmers, to the value chain, we are going to the disease-free zone, and then how the meat and the animals are exported from the port or from the airports. And in doing that, Kenya has got the highest disease-free zone where animals are being held, called Wachuma holding ground. But Chuma holding grounds holds everybody who wants to move his animals out of this country or slaughter them for highest regime must hold them in Chuma holding ground for 3 months. In the 3 months, they will be tested at various stages for various CCTV, all diseases, zoonotic diseases, large skin diseases, until the last, after the last of the analysis is done, that's when they are either moved to the factory or to the port for export. That is excluding the value chains like northeastern, eastern, upper hill areas. So, in every county, there is a holding ground which is being used as a disease-free zone. So, when the animals are being moved, some of them are tracked, we have stock routes, and then others are moved by vehicles. The veterinary officer for the area must authorize movement of animals that they are disease-free, and moving to that destination, he must give a no objection letter. And when the no objection letter is given, the man who is where the animals are being supplied to gives a movement permit valid for some period and not more than 21 days until the animals reach the destinations. So, in our earnest for the youth to learn these skills, we have done some tutorials. We were not able to present them the other day, and this is what I hope Dr. Apula will be sharing with you, the disease-free zone. Now in the value chain, the animals, they are very emaciated and they are very weak. They are less than 150 kilos, but we went to the feedlot where the animals are now, the ones which are exported are up to 450 kilograms in the Mackinac Ranch, the one I showed the first day. Some of the bulls that you see in the picture are about 450 days. So, that is one overview thing that I wanted to share with you. And I don't know whether maybe I was very tired. It took me off. There is something very, very nice which we saw in the governor's farm about the vertical farm. I thought everybody, if the picture will have carried that bag, if his luggage is very low, so that he could go and do this just at his homestead. So please don't forget about the gunny bag where your family or you can be harvesting the vegetables as morning comes. And I think it should not be undertaken as a need. So, the other thing, there are two other things which I want to share before our workshop, and these are end results. Because what the workshop is asking for is vision. And when you want a vision, in my opinion, is how far you can see, isn't it? How far you can see. Like I can see him, and he can see me, but there are some things in between that we cannot see, isn't it? Like the Sahiwal breed is a breed from Pakistan. They have been very much tested in Kenya, and now for the purpose of the Secretariat, there is what is called sex semen. Sex semen is if you want your cow only to give you wool, or if you want your cow to give you only the female heifers or calf heifers, then you purchase sex semen. Normally for the beef farmers, they want to buy the male ones, and for the dairy farmers, they will prefer to buy the one for egg ones. This is slightly expensive. If you could take this Kenya Central Artificial Insemination Center, for any breed, for the breeds of semens that you require, that is recommended from your country, that is our source. And then there are specialized dairy farms in Kenya, like Koga Farm is a dairy specialist, and their animals, they only come females. And this is because he is using sex semen to AI his animals. And if the bulls are born, they are immediately shot down so that they don't increase the economic production costs on the farm. So the solution to our breeding issues is sex semen from the Central Artificial Insemination Center is incubated, and then if you want live papers, like the Rwanda government, every year they tell us they want quality replacement papers. Paper International, you can Google that one also. Paper, Kenya Paper International provides quality papers for breeding stock, mostly to dairy farmers. So, in the honest for our future, the only thing which I will tell Kenyans and Tanzanians, and the Tanzanians are really adapted even more than us, is let us give the regular pastoral ecosystem to grow the way it is. Let the dams, I'm sure the county officials are here, the livestock and the youth director. There is no tariff for water for livestock in Kenya. All the dams, the ones done by Kenya Livestock Development Program, USA, One Vision, all the dams, the next day the chief has been employed, the villagers come up, the animals are nowhere to enter. So we need to have land development policy like the one in Botswana. In Botswana, a very good country about livestock farming, is that there is nobody allowed to sell his agricultural land. If you want money, you go, there is a specific bank, you get your money there, you stay as a squatter and continue doing the farming. That is the land agricultural livestock land policy. And therefore they were able to control diseases, they were able to increase production, and it is now the only African country exporting quality meat to the European Union. So we want to go that way. The land policy issues and the institutional issues to be supported. That was what we have tried to decide to do for you, but because everybody was given 5 times, we were not able to vent it out. Now, that is the end of my sharing experience with you. I would request, Dr. Kamau, I would request you to the research work and the collaborations on our university farm, because they did not have the opportunity to explore. I request Dr. Kamau, as the Dean of School of Agriculture, to explain exactly how the demonstration farms can be very good to them.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ibrahim. So I'm glad to be here. It's been very informative and very productive. And maybe later in the day we'll get to go to the beach at some point. And also for those that have not visited the school farm, the university farm, it's just on our way. So before we actually came to decide on the farm that we visited, where we have Mrs. Mulay, we had visited various places. We went all the way to Untitled Hills, a place called Lukenya. And of course, we looked at some of the farms and what they are doing. And it's interesting to see what young people can do. And of course, we did visit the feedlot, as we was talking about. But then there's this whole pertinent question. Okay? So are we addressing the challenges that the pastoralists are having? Because it's so much commercialized what we have. You know, a feedlot or what is zero grazing, and someone mentioned that zero grazing might actually not be the solution for this problem. So I think also there's been discussions around, and I think I was discussing with one of the participants about how much community land we actually have to actually continue maybe nomadism or even semi-nomadism. So it's a conversation that needs to go on, but then also what's the viability? By 2026, we're talking about 2026 being the year of pastoralism. So how much community land do we have? Is this sustainable as a way of life? All right? And I think there is someone who has published a paper, I think a month or so ago, they're talking about how there is so much encroachment of pastoralists in the cities. And nowadays, when you go to Nairobi, sometimes because of the drought, you find that there are pastoralists who have come all the way from Kajiado, and they're almost in the big cities. And maybe the reason why we are actually grazing in some of these spaces is because maybe the owner of the establishment has actually not developed the place into a building. And as Agwaheto mentioned, Nairobi and central Kenya, there's so much of building going on. So if you don't find a building, it means the person maybe has not started the development project. So we need to think about how sustainable is nomadic pastoralism. Because what we saw yesterday, we might want to define pastoralism as someone who's just keeping cattle and animals. But then there are other dynamics such as movement, all right? When we are talking about cooperatives, how are you able to bring someone who is grazing in Lukenya, for example, someone else who is in a rangeland that is in Chitwandei, someone else who is in the Mali, in Loitoktok? How do you communicate with these people such that there is a central point or a focal point where we have a cooperative being formed, if they even have to access any funds, all right? And I think it was interesting even seeing maybe an app. Someone has come up with an app where the pastoralists can look for pastures and water. So the whole issue of illiteracy, how are they able to even access this kind of information on a mobile phone? And we are talking about a smartphone in this case. So there's so much. And I think the fact that now we're talking about young people, maybe it's for us to change the whole narrative, because maybe our forefathers and the older generation, they are really still stuck that pastoralism is highly, defined by movement and nomadism and all that, and of course it's a way of life. And as we are talking about that, then the spin of sustainability of the long run, how we, and then even the output. If you're always moving from one point to another, how much are you getting from these animals? Someone talked about them being a mobile bank that is moving around. So it's great that we're having these conversations, and I think because this is going all the way to 2026, we will have come up with a few solutions and pointers that could also be implemented. And then thirdly, and maybe lastly, there's so much research that has been done also in livestock. We're talking of grass production, grass varieties, so that we have the climate change adaptation and mitigation. But then what is the implementation plan of some of these research that has been conducted? So if you're talking about an example, integrated pest management in farms and around us, there's so much that has been practical and has been successful. And we give an example of push and pull. When it came in Kenya for the first time, we had all these training drives around, and very many farmers were picking them up. But then, after a while, we find that they did no longer practice it. So, those are the things. Do we even implement what we are talking about? We can sit here, talk for 3 days, write a report, okay, have a declaration, but then, what next? Is it about us coming here, having coffee at lunch, having a conversation, getting fascinated and enthusiastic, going to Egypt for COP27? Of course I want to go to Egypt. I'll feel nice to take that. But then, after all is said and done, I'll take photos, we talked a lot, I got to know very many people who do implement the solutions that we came up with. Otherwise, thank you very much. I want to leave it at that. Maybe over to you, Dr. Jim.
So, are we going to implement what we are talking about? I hope everyone can answer for themselves. That's very, very important. Yeah, so the floor is open to each and every one of us. Whatever input, what input you have, you can share with us. So you just put up your hand and give you an opportunity to share any additional input that you have. I would be happy, Mr. Mokami, if you add something, and Mr. Justice, Mr. James, or maybe after I saw a hand up, after we finish.
Yes, mine is a short one, and I think we really learned a lot, and the ball is on our side now to really cascade what we learned on the ground. And I'm sure the team have been doing a lot. When we look at the posters of life, the first day, I think every one of us is doing something at his own level. And this discussion and consultation really will help to enhance what you are doing. And at our local level, as youth, we have a role to make communication in our local languages, because we have different local languages. So how can we make our parents or our communities understand better what we have learned here? Because they don't know English or Kiswahili or any other language. But now the local language will help in here, because we have learned a lot. But when we cascade using our local languages at our grassroots or our community level, that will help better. We are in technology. They don't have these smartphones that we are using. But how are we now using the technologies that we have to cascade it and make your parents understand what you really mean or what you want to understand? The second part is from the environmental background. We can't talk about climate change when we cannot talk about the environment and conservation issues. We as pastoralists, we are told that we are emitting greenhouse gases. We are doing this. As agriculturalists, we are told that our crops are emitting greenhouse gases that lead to global warming and climate change. So our activities need to be environmentally friendly. Everything that we are doing need to be environmentally friendly. So working this with the Kenya Climate Smart Agriculture Project, we are coming up with per value chain. We are coming up with an environmental and social management plan. Our communities need to understand the activities that they are doing. What are they doing that they can enhance and do activities that are environmental friendly? For example, when we are drilling a borehole, we do a CS, environmental, social, and impact assessment. But the living document in that environmental, social management, environmental and social impact assessment is the environmental and social management plan that most of the funders or most of the departments are not doing what needs to be done in terms of environment. For example, we have said we want to drill a borehole, and in that document there is a part called environmental and social management plan. Yes, you have drilled a borehole, and the borehole is saline, as you have seen. Are you now trying to introduce the salinity that is down there at the top of the soil, in fact making the soil to die, and then you are saying that you want to practice agriculture? So by practicing agriculture in that way, it's like you are killing the soil. increasing the salinity. So these are the things that we actually need to practice. That it's not only about drilling boreholes and getting water, but what are we doing to address the issues of impact that we have on the environment and our one planet. Thank you.
Thank you for that input. It's not only about drilling the boreholes, but also the impact that has on the environment. That's very key.
Thank you for the opportunity. Since I'm I never had the chance to talk, but something of observation I made from these consultations on the part of application, I do much to do with technology, data analytics and science. But there is one thing, there is a brother who spoke much of indigenous knowledge and the importance of exploring the power of indigenous knowledge in supporting our practices. But one of the things that we're missing in exploring the power of this indigenous knowledge is that we have no means of sharing these knowledges. Because all of us, we account ourselves that we are all pastoralists, and we come from different societies. But we have different levels, we have different ways and means of adapting and supporting our own activities to the level that it's more better than how it is. What we are failing is we fail from recording. Most of us who take indigenous knowledge should be passed either orally or through initiation of practices within the very same community. But I really wish the indigenous knowledge in Ethiopia, how they go about their usual activity and how they support their existence, should also see to what extent can it be applied to pastoral community in Tanzania or even in Kenya, because there might be one piece of knowledge in one part which has not been explored or has not been used in other parts. But if it could be used on that part, it could be used more than the usual practice they have right at hand. So I would call among we youth, we understand the different ways where we can enhance and improve our own way of exchanging information. I mean, let's start from how we document our practices, how Tanzanians, we do support our own existence, and what is good in Tanzania. And at last, I should be able to communicate with fellows in Kenya, Ethiopia, and elsewhere that as in 2020, we had faced 1, 2, 3. And on these challenges, we had adapted this 1, 2, 3. What is it in your country? What is it in your region? And how do you think if this can also be applied in your region? I think if you could have a smooth and effective way of exchanging information, most on our own practices, because we cannot correctly generalize that across Ethiopia to Tanzania, we have the very exact same way of conducting our own pastoralist activities. There is a slight difference, and these differences gives us a chance for us to learn from each other and see whatever challenge that it's in one part, how can it be a solution to the next part. So across different points, there is a way we can smooth and bring a chance for us to develop. So I call among ourselves as we work on a network, information exchange and information delivery at the right spots. There is a way for us to have a closer look of our performance and a closer look on how we can have a right approach to the most common challenges that we often face in our usual daily activities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Talk about our differences, giving us a chance to learn from each other. I think that's key. Because at times people look at differences in a very negative perspective, whereby it brings conflicts because you're using the differences in a negative way. But if we use our differences in a positive way, to learn from each other, then I believe it will be helpful to all communities. So, additional comments on the area? Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. For the 3 days, and from based on the experience,
a lot is always done in terms of coming together and brainstorming on what could be done, what can we do. But at the same time, we do not go and practice what we say. And that one is common with youth. So it's my request to my fellow colleagues that whatever we are saying here, let's try to put even one of the interventions into practice. We try to practice what we say. That way we will be able to attract our community to see that there is a change here, even if it's one thing. Two is that these things, I feel like some innovations have been, people have come up with innovations, but now the challenge is we tend to, when we go into our communities, we don't bring to them we don't sell the innovation to them in such a way that they will be part of the innovation. So we go and say this is the right way. But for me, I feel like if we go and involve them in everything that we do, they will be able to accept the innovation. You take them through, like they learn by doing it, step by step. But if you go and bump a lot of information to them without explaining to them the simple language that they understand, they will not be able to accept it. So we have to repackage our language in such a way that a farmer can be able to understand in simplest terms possible. Three is that I feel we are also disengaged in a manner that if I'm in agriculture and someone is in Ministry of Water, then we tend to leave challenges pertaining water to them. If someone is dealing with land, we are so much disengaged. But at the same time, we all face the same challenge. So bringing in the interdisciplinarity among ourselves and share our ideas, experiences, and our challenges will be key in our circle. For instance, we have the issue of climate change. Climate change is ravaging every sector. I think this is a learning lesson that we can know that one stressor can affect all the sectors in one way or the other, whether directly or indirectly. The issue of COVID, it was for health, but what happened to agriculture? What happened to environment? What happened to water? So we became part of it, all of us. So if we can be able to share our ideas, private sector, different departments, water, environment, and bring our ideas together, we can be able to help one another. Those are some of the things that I can say, and they are practical. It is things that exist. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, so I like that example you gave, like COVID-19. When we had COVID-19, we really came together to fight COVID-19 together. If we adopted that kind of model for each of these issues, like we say in Africa, this is how we need to handle it, or even in your country, this is how we handle it together. In that kind of a model, I believe actually we can be able to tackle most of those issues that we have. Thank you for your comments. Any other comments? Addition, comment? Or you have a question somewhere? Okay. Mr. McCarthy, you have something?
Okay. I think we've discussed much about the issue of pastoralism. Mine is to emphasize on ensuring that the network that we have grows. Wherever you are, make sure you grow the network. Now that we've met coming from different backgrounds, we've shared our stories, we've heard what we do in our different places. Let's continue growing our network. Because we are about 30 of us here, 30 or 40. We need to grow the number. Let's share what we bring. let's share the challenges that we face. Maybe someone somewhere is struggling because you know something that he or she doesn't know. By sharing what you're doing and the challenges, maybe the opportunities, you help someone out there. Then also, as we do our activities, just like I say, it is good to know the strategies that are in place by either the government or by the private sector. Why? Young people are trying various value chains, but at times they feel because they don't know if there are measures or things that are in place meant to help them not to struggle much. Like, for example, in Makweni, talking about the post-harvest losses, as we had yesterday with Madam Dr. Mle. We've done code groups. I know most people may not be aware, and I know they are yet to be commissioned, but we've done at least code groups that can help our farmers, like in cases of fresh products. Somewhere that they can have their products prolong their expiry period. Then, when the time comes, then they sell at a good price, other than just disposing what you have at a loss. You get? It's good also to note with the processing plant that we have in Makweni. Initially, we were only doing things like only puree. Today we can do RTD, ready to drink juice, something that was commissioned the other day. So it's one of the opportunities. Like in poultry, we almost completing a slaughterhouse, and you find someone maybe struggling somewhere with market of their chicken, when they can sell their chicken somewhere at a good price, other than struggling along there. So it is good to know what measures are there by the government. It's about livestock. Where are they aggregating the products? For which market? That way, we will help the other youth. Then also, it is good to maximize on our positive, the success stories. There are guys who get easily discouraged by the negativity or the challenges that we face in this value. Just because you fail once doesn't make you a failure the next time. I have a story about one of the young people that we've been working together in this poultry value chain. Like 4 years ago, she lost almost the whole flock because of the issue of disease control. But a year ago, when we talked to the young person, she's now doing over 2,000 layers. And she's now encouraging other people to join the value chain. Something that she had quitted and forgot about that. So it's about now the best practices, learning from others, learning from our mistakes. And this will go far. So my young request is through our leaders from the various places. And we see the network growing and we keep talking. Let's share the things that we're doing, the challenges that we're facing, and in case of an opportunity, let's see it, and we will go far. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so the issue of markets, sharing what we know of each other, knowing the strategies that have been set up by government and even public sector. Some of those are maybe some opportunities, there might be also opportunities that we can be able to come across. And then the best, having the best practices, even through learning from our mistakes. Because you make some mistake, maybe you get a loss, that should be like a learning ground to help improve your practices. Yeah, so that's what we do.
And maybe to add, you find that there are so many programs that happen in different places. Information is power. When you hear something is happening somewhere, and maybe you have interest in that, find out how you can join those conversations. They will help you much. I have a group of youth drying mangoes and selling in the UK. They identified the challenge of post-harvest loss, and they decided to go for a grant through the help of our department, Agriculture Livestock. We were able to help them develop a concept. They sent to the organization, and they were funded 2.3 million. Today, they are drying fruits, different fruits, getting from even other counties. They dry and sell to a UK market. So it's something that we need to consider. When you hear there's a program somewhere, get to know who are the organizers. Fight your way. No, I keep on saying there are so many opportunities. Like now I might be having 100 shillings. Then when I raise, I just say I need to give someone this money. People will just raise up their hands. Say, I want. But it is only those who make a step to grab the money will benefit. So because the opportunities are there, it is now us as young people make a step, grab the opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Yeah, thank you very much. And let Mr. Ogambo, you have something to add?
Yes, thank you. I just want to emphasize that the effects of climate change are real. And as a forum, we have deliberated and we have all agreed that drought is one of the challenges that is facing pastoralism. But we also need to understand clearly that climate change cannot be intervened and sorted single-handedly. And I believe that's why we are deliberating on this, because we need concerted efforts. It would be futile if only one state or one country or one region was working towards mitigating the effects of climate change, while the rest were sleeping. We will still suffer the same way. Currently in Kenya, we are facing a crisis. We are now having almost 4 million Kenyans who are starving due to drought. And that's all because of the effects of climate change. In our county, where we are right now, called Makueni County, we are having over 200,000 households that are facing starvation out of a population of almost 1 million people. Where we are specifically is one of the areas that we can say are in the alert phase of the drought cycle. But what we are saying is that as much as we wish to achieve food security through agriculture, we need also to appreciate that as much as agriculture is affected by climate change, but agriculture is also a contributor to climate change. If we are not going to adopt the climate smart technologies in our agricultural practices, then definitely we will be contributing to climate change instead of mitigating. It has already been modeled and already foretold that by the year 2050, the world population is going to be around 9.6 billion. Now, this means that we have to increase our agricultural production so that we can meet the food requirement of the population. But it's also being said already that even as much as we adopt the climate smart technologies, we will still have a reduction of about 5% in the global food production. So that means that we really need to come up with a proper roadmap, not only for our member countries, but also regional and even universal, so that we can be able to address this issue. So what I can say in summary, that we really need to embark on technologies that are going to sustainably increase agricultural productivity, but at the same time building resilience to climate change, and also technologies that will aim at reducing or removing the greenhouse gas emissions to the atmosphere. Now, in our county, as the county government of Makueni, through the Department of Agriculture, Irrigation, Livestock and Fisheries Development, we have realized and appreciated this challenge. And currently, we have a steering committee that has been put in place so that it can provide guidance, guidelines, and oversee adoption of mitigating climate change in our county. We are also promoting technologies that are relevant to us. The issue of adapting improved breeds or improved crop varieties or hybrid crop varieties that are drought resistant, that are pest and disease resistant, that are fast maturing so that they can escape the drought and utilize optimally the available moisture is very, very crucial. We are also advocating and promoting on-farm feed technologies so that we can reduce on the production costs, but at the same time maintaining the quality. Remember, poor feeds will also lead to increased greenhouse gas emissions. We are also promoting green energy. Like in poultry, we have supported groups, poultry groups with incubators, so that we can also increase on the production at the household level by increasing the number of birds on stock. That will also have an impact on improved food security, food and nutrition security, and at the same time increasing the income at the household level. So these are some of the measures that we are undertaking in our county, and of course, this being an ASAD county, an arid and semi-arid area, agriculture cannot take place without proper conservation, proper water harvesting, proper agroforestry practices, proper soil cover measures. That is inevitable. And of course, the issue of soil fertility must be maintained by promoting manuring, so that composting and manure application, so that we can be able to improve on the water retention capacity or improve the soil structure in our areas. So I want to add all of us that we need to appreciate the effects of climate change, and we need now to work as a family so that we can be able to improve on the livelihoods of the people. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that contribution. Yeah, there's a lot of information in terms of mitigation of climate change. You cannot have one area mitigating and another area not mitigating, and then we expect change. We need to have combined efforts in that case. We are having many households suffering from starvation in many parts of the world, including Kenya, meaning that we need to find effective ways of contributing to more food security. And in that case, it means that as much as agriculture is affected by climate change, it is also a contributor. So we need to adopt those climate smart practices in all our work, even in pastoralism and every other agricultural activity. There's also we talked about reduced. There will be reduction in global food production. That's something very key. We talked about 5% reduction. That's 5% is not a small figure when we're talking about global food production, because when we talk about like a 1% increase in temperature, you know that is a big increase in temperature, because that would affect our oceans, our rivers, the levels will go very low, just 1%. So if we talk about 5% reduction in global production, that's quite a huge change that we see in terms of global food production. So in other words, we need to improve our production system so that we can ensure we are having food security. So we gave many ways of being able to do that. What the county is also doing, which is very commendable. Thank you, Mr. Janko, for that presentation that you just made. So, is there any other addition? Any member who has any addition? Okay, so let's appreciate everyone. Oh, there's one hand there before we end. Yes, go ahead.
On what the Secretary said on starvation.